became angry because he didn't do what he told him to do. And the list goes on of examples in the Quran and in the Sunnah. So whenever you find a mufti that makes the asl not doing what Allah says, who makes the asl of riba permissible, and it's only haram in this situation, know for sure that person is not qualified to give fatwa. No matter what his name is, where he comes from, what country, he's unqualified. When a fatwa is sloppy and choppy and inaccurate, and these baselines or these dawabit, these usul, these principles, they're not implemented, and the fatwa, something's wrong. Something is seriously wrong. And the fatwa of the mufti is this concept, yes. Making it easy for the people. Do not make it hard for them. Looking at the people's time, their situation. But that is not necessarily the what? Asal. Asal is that you obey. You implement. You cannot. It's too difficult. That's a different story. Everybody understand this? The fatwa is not to be excessively harsh. Nor is the fatwa to be what? Like an ice cream sandwich. Totally soft and soggy, melting, spilling all over the place. Everybody understand this? It's supposed to be what?
Balance.
In the middle. It's very important. And there's some issues in which the fatwa must lean to harshness more, depending on the sin, on the danger of the situation. And there are other issues in which the fatwa can what? Just a little bit. 60-40, 40-60, depending on the what? من يريد الله خيرا فقهه في الدين ومن يؤت الحكمة فقد أوتي خيرا. Allah says anyone who's been given hikmah has been given a great amount of what? Good. Everybody understand this? You don't know when to do, when not to do, unless you have what? Hikmah. Just like a master surgeon. How much pressure to apply, how much pressure not to what? That hand is not for anybody. Not a nurse, not a normal doctor. That's a skilled surgeon that has studied for years, read extensively, practiced extensively. Everybody understand this? The steadiness of the hand. Cut or not to cut. One excessive cut leads to that. If you don't cut, if you don't apply enough pressure, it's not going to be a successful surgery. Everybody understand this? It's a very important concept of fiqh in the deen. Moving on. Sanani rahimahullah ta'ala then says, وَالْحَدِيثُ دَلِيلٌ عَلَى طَهَارَةِ الْهِرَّةِ وَسُؤْرِهَا وَانْبَاشَرَتْ نَجِسًا وأنه لا تقييد لطهارة فمها بزمان وقيل لا يطهر فمها إلا بمضي زمان من ليلة أو يوم أو ساعة أو شربها الماء أو غيبتها حتى يحصل ظن بذلك أو بزوال عين النجاسة من فمها وهذا الأخير أوضح الأقوال لأنه مع بقاء عين النجاسة في فمها فالحكم بنجاسة تلك العين لا لفمها فانزالت العين فقد حكم الشارع بأنها ليست بنجس. He says the hadith proves that the cat, its saliva, and the cat itself is pure. Even if the cat touches something which is najis. Even if the cat touches or walks or licks or eats something that's what? Najis. Everybody understand this? The origin of the cat is that it's what? Pure. It's saliva and it's also its body. The paws, tail, ears, eyes, nose, fur. Everybody understand this? That's the asl. However, there is no doubt a cat can fall into something najis as well. A cat may have a problem with the bathroom. It gets on its leg. It may eat a mouse. Blood on its lips. Anything like this. Cat may drink out the toilet. Is this not the case? If you have a kitten, frisky cat, this is a reality. Everybody understand this? A cat may go outside and kill a bird, anything. Something like this, some type of blood or whatever the case may be. Everybody understand this? So what do you do now if the cat touches something or eats something that's najis? Do you then say it's still pure? We say is that if there's some najasa on the cat or in the cat's mouth, then and it's clear to us, then we clean the najasa. And that still does not have nothing to do with the cat or the cat's mouth. And in contrast to the dog. In contrast to the what? To the dog. Everybody understand this? Khair, inshallah. Let's move on to the next hadith. Hadith number 10. Tafadol.
Are all things najis when they die? So if the cat were to die, would it be considered najis now because it's died?
Question says, are all things najis when they die? We say no. Some things remain pure, such as the human body. Man, everybody understand this? There are some things which are pure when they die, such as a slaughtered animal. Such as a what? Slaughtered animal. The blood of that slaughtered animal, is it haram or just najis? That's a different issue. The blood that pours out and spills out. That may, if we don't eat it, nor we drink that blood, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that blood is najis. Everybody understand this? An animal is dead. That's not the same as an animal that's carrion. An animal that was gorged to death or shot or ran over, roadkill. The deer we saw driving, where? In New Jersey that time? It was 2 of them we saw that day. He must have forgot. It's 2 dogs, 2 deers, not the jinn. Actual deer, yeah. It's reality. It's almost time. Everybody understand this? What's important is that what? The animal died, it was not slaughtered properly. It's now considered to be meta. It's what? Meta. And if it's meta, it is najis. So it's a yes and no answer. Hadith number 10, the author rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, وعن أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه قال جاء أعرابي فبال في طائفة المسجد فزجره الناس فنهاهم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فلما قضى بوله أمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بذنوب من ماء فأهريق عليه متفق عليه. Hadith number 10, Hadith of Anas رضي الله عنه. He says one day a Bedouin, a nomad, came in the masjid and he urinated in the corner of the masjid. The people tried to stop him and prevent him, and the Prophet ﷺ said, leave him be, leave him be. When the Bedouin man finished his urination, the Prophet ﷺ said, bring a bucket of water and pour it thereupon. The hadith is agreed upon by Al-Bukhari and by Imam Muslim. This authentic hadith shows us the beautiful character of the Prophet ﷺ and his piercing wisdom. His piercing wisdom. The Prophet ﷺ had knowledge and wisdom that cut through things. Everybody understand this? Whereas the man urinating in the corner of the masjid is disrespectful. It's haram. That's a harm. It's a mafsada. However, if the people stopped him, then there will be 1 harm, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 harms. The situation will become uglier, such as the man's odor will be exposed. The urine, instead of being in one corner, would now be on your clothes. Hanafis. Everybody understand this? You need to say no more. Thirdly, the Bedouin man may have fought and hit someone. He may have injured someone. Someone may have injured him. Sahaba, tough, strong warriors, anything. And then this goes on. He may have apostated from the deen. And then this goes on of things that could have happened by you stopping this Bedouin man in the middle of his what? Urination. Let alone the physical harm that would happen to the Bedouin man's body. He's in the middle of urination and you stop him. Everybody understand this? So the wise man, if he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, he's going to pick what? At least what? I'd rather take 1 punch than... There you go. I'd rather take a jab than a hook. Hikmah. I can't avoid both punches. I'll take that punch and not that punch. And there's some fools who say, it doesn't matter, hit me with the hook. We're going to stop. That's foolishness. And that's against Islam. But the Prophet said he did not leave the munkar. Everybody understand this? As it states in other narrations, other versions. He told the man not to do that. He cleansed it up. So it's not an issue of not talking about the munkar and not enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, but it's about how and when. Everybody understand this? And this is a very important lesson for du'at. Very important lesson for du'at. The concept of hikmah, wisdom, yaqi. Just use a little bit of wisdom. There's a time and there's a place. It doesn't mean that you keep siding upon that which is clearly evil. That which is clearly haram. Doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean that you bootlick people and you kiss up to people. Doesn't mean that. Nor does it mean that you go and you walk into someone's house and you be disrespectful and nasty. It's a hikmah. It's a place and time for everything. Someone try to walk in front of you. There's a time and a place for what? Everything. And we benefit from this hadith and from other hadiths as well. Another benefit we take from this hadith is that the urine of a grown human being is what? It's najis, ahsant. Another benefit we take from this hadith is what? Fadl Abu Sa'id?
Water purifies najasa.
That from the ways of purifying najasa is water. Another benefit we take from this hadith is that you do not have to dig a hole and remove it and take the dirt out and throw it out. Rather, he says he poured water upon it. Everybody clear on this? Which is a technical issue between the Hanafi ulama and the other fuqaha, the other classical schools, with regards to digging a ditch, taking the dirt out and throwing it, etc. Everybody clear on this? Another benefit we take from this hadith is the sacredness of the masjid. The masjid is sacred. The house of Allah should be sacred. Everybody understand this? Now, I mean,
just one other question.
we got to finish the benefits first. So we'll get to the question, no problem. Another benefit we take from this hadith is what? Is that there are going to be people that are going to do things that are ignorant and clearly wrong. And a true scholar, a true person of knowledge, is someone who's forbearing. Not only is he patient, but he's forbearing. There's a difference between patience and forbearance. Everybody understand this? Hilm. And that's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Asma al-Husna. Allah is al-Halim. Allah is al-Halim. Everybody understand this? Allah is forbearing upon you. Everybody clear this? You have to be forbearing. You have to be tolerant. You have to be patient. If you want to teach the people, if you want benefit to spread, if you want the knowledge to spread, then you have to have some type of what? Forbearance. Everybody clear on this? And we don't have to go any further. And the many stories that we've seen of our teachers and our instructors in the Prophet ﷺ city, when all types of people would do things and say things in the middle of the class, they had forbearance. Not like us, they'll be hasty, sit down, shut up, get out the masjid, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, and this is why we live in the situation that we live in, because true knowledge has a aroma to it, and fake knowledge, it has you can't really smell it, just like the tea, the bergamot, it's a distinct smell, distinct flavor. It's real, authentic. And moving on, inshallah. Hadith al-Sanani rahimahullah, he says, وَالْحَدِيثُ فِيهِ دِلَالَةٌ عَلَى نَجَاسَةِ بَوْلِ الْآدَمِي وَهُوَ إِجْمَاعٌ. He says that the ulama unanimously agree that the urine of a human being is najis, the urine of a grown human being. وعلى أن الأرض إذا تنجست طهرت بالماء كسائر المتنجسات. وهل يجزي في طهارتها غير الماء؟ قيل تطهرها أو تطهرها الشمس والريح فإن تأثيرهما في إزالة النجاسة أعظم إزالة من الماء. He then says, the hadith also proves that when the earth or when soil becomes najis, filthy, then water is poured upon it and it becomes clean like anything else. That is what? Mutanajjis, as we clearly said to you. Now he brings up the issue, Tariq, is it permissible? He says, هل يجزي في طهارتها غير الماء؟ كما قلنا. هل يجزي يعني هل يصح؟ هل يجوز الطهارة بغير الماء? Is it permissible to clean the ground, clean the earth with other than water? Such as what? Not even that. Natural elements. Sunlight, wind. In other words, we have some dung, animal dung. It's najis. It's of an animal that you can't eat. A dog, something like this. And it's so dry, time goes by, that the dung just crumbles up and blows up into the wind. Or it's so hot that it becomes totally dry and scorched. Is it now pure? Can you pray on it? Or do you have to clean it off with water? Everybody understand this concept here? If something evaporates 100%. Everybody understand this? It's extremely cold, extremely hot, extremely windy, without physical what? Water. Everybody understand this? This concept, the issue? Yes or no? Then he discussed the issue of if the ground is, if the soil was solid, if the soil is soft, etc. Or as we mentioned, between Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah and the other fuqaha. Last but not least, Sanani, he says, وفي الحديث فوائد. وفي الحديث إيش؟ فوائد. قال منها احترام المساجد. فإنه صلى الله عليه وسلم لما فرغ الأعرابي من بول دعاه ثم قال له إن هذه المساجد لا تصلح لشيء من هذا البول ولا القدر، إنما هي لذكر الله عز وجل وقراءة القرآن، ولأن الصحابة تبادروا إلى الإنكار عليه وأقرهم صلى الله عليه وسلم، وإنما أمرهم بالرفق كما في رواية الجماعة للحديث هذا إلا مسلما أنه قال لهم إنما بعثتم ميسرين ولم تبعثوا معسرين، ولو كان الإنكار غير جائز لقال لهم إنه لا يأتي أو لم يأتي الأعرابي بما يوجب نهيكم له. He says in this hadith are several fawaid, several benefits, and once again you're taking these benefits not from what the Sahaba said, not from what the Tabi'een said, not from what the great ulama said. You're taking the fawaid directly what? right from the hadith, organic. Everybody understand this? You go outside, pick the what? Cucumbers, the tomatoes, the onions, right from your garden. Wash it off, cook it right in your house. It's not the same as going to the supermarket. You slaughter the animal yourself. The chicken, you say Bismillah, you cut it, pluck it, boil it, you cook it. Freshness. It's not the same. Everybody understands it's not what? It's not the same. So imagine if you do this every day for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You take these for what? Directly what? Directly from the Sunnah. Based off the Arabic language, based off of the principles of deducement, and reading the sharh of those ulama. Everybody understand this? He says many benefits from this hadith. Number 1 is respecting the masjids. And we take this because the Prophet ﷺ, he called that Bedouin man. And this also shows Abu Bakr is that when you read in one book, it doesn't mean that that's the entire hadith. But the hadith, the book is summarized. And the author only gives you a selection and a piece of the long story from the hadith. Everybody understand this? Very important. Is that the hadith, you have to go back to Sahih Muslim. Go back to Sahih Bukhari, the original source, the organic source once again. And read the entire what? Hadith. Because this book is only summarized. It says that the man was called by the Prophet ﷺ. He said, verily these masjids are totally unsuitable for urine and filth. The masjids are only for the remembrance of Allah and reciting the Quran. You can't get that benefit just by reading the summarized version of Bulughul-Maram. Everybody understand this? This also shows us the alim should explain to the people as well why that's wrong, why it's haram, why is it bad, why is it a bid'ah? What is bid'ah? Everybody understand this? A brother, he said to me 2 weeks ago, Masha Hamza, he walked up to me after the khutbah, and he says, you need to talk, please, about voting. Voting, he says, because what I know, voting is a bid'ah. That's what he said. He said, voting is a bid'ah. How is voting a bid'ah, yahi? Is voting an act of worship? Do you understand what bid'ah means, what it is? And the reason behind that is because it was never explained to him what bid'ah is. But it was just forced and thrown down his throat. What? Bid'ah. Mashakil. That's a big problem. Or some of us may say shirk is an act of shirk for you to say, like, what are you talking about? Do you know what shirk is? Do you know what bid'ah is? Do you know what these terms mean? So the alim, he should explain to the people what is bid'ah and why is bid'ah bad. Most Muslims don't understand it. Why is it so bad to do innovations? Because it's disrespectful to the Nabi. It's disrespectful to Allah. Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum. So the Prophet explained to the Bedouin man why it was bad, what he did. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? He should explain to the people, give them the dalil, let their minds be opened up why that's haram and why that's mandatory. What's so bad about not wearing hijab? Why? Tell them, explain to them. He then says, another proof is that the Sahaba immediately went to criticize this man. And the Prophet ﷺ, he acknowledged them for criticizing him, but he just said, let him what? Let him finish, and also be gentle. Be what? Be gentle. And there's another narration outside of Sahih Muslim in Bukhari and other books that states, and that's another benefit for Abu Bakr and the Tulab al-Ilm, is that you have to take one hadith and find all of the narrations and compare them. That way you get a total what? There you go. Total picture of the hadith. That the Prophet ﷺ, he said, you have only been sent to make things easy, and you have not been sent to make things hard. That's your job, Abu Bakr. Tariq, that's your job. Not to break the people's backs, but to give the people support, to let them sit up, to fix their posture. Not to break their backs. Allah says, the Prophet says this and he says that. Islam, so on. That's what you're sent to make it easy for the people, not to make things hard for the people. It's a very important concept what in da'wah, this hadith. As-Sanani, he then says, another benefit of this hadith, ar-rifqu bil-jahil wa adamun ta'nif, is being gentle with the ignorant man and not being violent and harsh. وَمِنْهَا حُسْنُ خُلُقِهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم وَلُطْفُهُ فِي التَّعْلِيمِ, is the good character of the Prophet ﷺ and how courteous he was in teaching the people. ومنها أن الإبعاد عند قضاء الحاجة إنما هو لمن يريد الغائط لا البول فإنه كان عرف العربي عدم ذلك وأقره الشارع وقد بال صلى الله عليه وسلم وجعل رجلا عند عقبه يستره. Another benefit from this hadith is what? is that when a person wishes to relieve himself, you only have to go far away and walk far away if you plan to, yani, do that other type of relieving of yourself. Everybody understand this?
Defecation.
Nah, number 2, number ithnain. Everybody clear on this? It's only mandatory to walk far away if you do a what?
Number 2.
Everybody clear on this? As for if a person wants to urinate, then it isn't mandatory to walk far away from the people. How do you get this from this hadith, Tariq? Kaif? Fadal, Saeed.
The Prophet didn't command them to go far away.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
The guy went around people. He went to the bathroom around people, and it was like maybe something.
Something what? Maybe something.
That
Keep
was
thinking.
just done. Like, it was okay. Like
How do we go that far from
go
this
by a
hadith?
tree, you know? Like,
As-Sanani, he says, and that is because the custom of the Arabs is that when they wanted to urinate, they didn't always necessarily go far away. And when they wanted to take that other type of relief, they would do it close. They would go far away. Smell, sound, comfort, character, etc. Everybody understand this? He says, and this is something that Islam, something that the Prophet ﷺ acknowledged them in doing. He what? He acknowledged them. In other words, the man urinating in the masjid was the bad thing, and not necessarily urinating close to what?
People.
To people. And as if the man's awrah was covered. As if his awrah was what? Covered. As if his awrah was covered, but the bad thing was that it was in the corner of the masjid. Everybody understand this? And he also mentions a narration in which the Prophet ﷺ urinated and someone stood behind him and covered him from the people. It's a very important fiqh issue, is that you don't have to go far away when you, everybody clear on this khair, inshallah. He then says, وَمِنَا دَفْعُ عَظَمِ الْمَضَرَّتَيْنِ بِأَخَفِّهِمَا. And also, last but not least, he mentions, is taking the lesser of the two what? Evils. Khair, inshallah. And that's just one hadith. Look how many benefits we took. For one narration. Everybody clear on this? From one prophetic narration. We will stop here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. After any questions, we'll try to take them on our way to Masjid al-Ansar. Jazakumullahu khairan.